Welcome, I'm Dr. Doug Weiss, and today's topic is step 5 for married and alone. So if you're married to an intimacy anorexic and you're working the steps, this is going to be very encouraging for you. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do, because we put these out for you and to encourage you and remind you when we do that. Also, if you have a question, please put it in the box. We will get to that as soon as possible. So stay tuned. Step 5 for married and alone. This is very important. Now, if you've gone through step 4, you already have this kind of story, the good stuff you've done, the bad stuff you've done, the ugly stuff that has happened to you, and you need to do something with it. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Step 5 is what you do with step 4. So let's read step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. So in step 5, what you're going to do is you're going to take your step 4, your good, your bad, and your ugly, and you're going to talk to God. Now, some people like to skip over this part, because God knows already. I mean, he was there, right? Yes, but it's important for you to have a sit down with God and go over your step. And well, how do I do that, Dr. Weiss? Well, what you want to do is get 2 chairs, sit them together like in your kitchen or living room somewhere, and be alone. Make sure that you're safe, the door's locked, no one's coming home right now, or find a place, maybe even in a park or a forest where you feel comfortable and you feel safe. But be alone and sit across and kind of put God in that place, in that chair, and go through it with him. Say, God, let me go through my story. Let me go through some of the good things I really feel that, I've done or you blessed me with or that we did together. It was really great. Let me go through that column with you and just go through that column. Celebrate the good things that are part of your life, okay? Then, God, there's some things I need to talk about that I've done wrong. Decisions I've made, how I've hurt myself or actually hurt some other people, or both. And here it is, from childhood, adolescence, maybe the rebellious stuff I did or pain I caused there, early adulthood, even in my marriage years, okay? These are things I've done wrong or I didn't follow through with or I didn't do, okay? And then sit down with God and go through the things that happened that were outside of your control. Accidents, legal issues, rapes, abortions, things like that. And make sure that you go through this very thoroughly with him and just have that dialogue. Some people actually sit and go back in the other chair and they role play God and they give some feedback. You can do that if you want, but it's just really important that you talk to God and let that out. To ourselves. Dr. Weiss, are you suggesting that we talk to ourselves? I find talking to myself sometimes very, very helpful. Now, I would strongly encourage you, it could be the same day or a little bit later, but give yourself a break between doing these events. Sit down, put yourself kind of symbolically in the other chair and just read it out loud. Go out loud. Go through the process. Now, this may not feel like it's making sense to you, but I feel like the people that actually do all 3 parts of step 5, because some people read step 5 and go, oh, I got to tell somebody else. And instead of actually reading what the step says admit to God, admit to ourselves. So go through it with yourself. Here's the good things you did. Here's the bad things you did or decisions you made, consequences you've had for that. And here's some of the ugly things that have happened to you. Okay. And I think this is really super important because when you take the time to go through your story twice, you're going to gain some insight. You might actually take some notes and add some things or even remember some things. Sometimes as you go through step 5, it's not uncommon for you to go, wait a minute, there was another incident or there was something else that happened or I didn't write that down. I really need to put that in there. And you write it down and you scribble in your outline. And that's fantastic because you've gone through it twice. Now your step is really developed. It's really probably really complete. You've had some emotions about it already, and you can sit down with another human being. Now, I will tell you, that's the hard part. I'll never forget doing my step 5 in my entire life. It's a life-changing moment. I remember I was in a seminary, and there was a PhD student who was ahead of me who was in recovery, and I made an appointment with him because I was going to make sure that he could never tell my story to anybody, okay? Because we all feel like our story is so dark. And so I went to his office, and I sat down in his chair. I said, well, I'm here to do my step 5, so I just want to read my step 4 to you. And since he was a recovering person, he knew exactly what I was doing. And I went through the good, the bad, the ugly, and there was some stuff there I never told anybody up to that point. And I remember just kind of going through with them, and I was ready to write my check for him. He's like, no. It's a sacred thing. I don't charge for that. And I felt like he was really just there for me, just to listen to my step. And, after I left, I walked down the steps into my car. I didn't really feel that much different. Got in my car and I drove to the stop sign. And something it was like a flush. It was like, and it just felt like all the yuck and junk was just flushed out of my soul. I was so happy, so relieved. I literally had to pull over. There was a field over there, and I was dancing around and just thanking God and being happy and so light in my spirit and soul and my body. And it just felt like a cleanse and it broke that thing that said, if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me. That thing has been snapped. I mean, I believe people can know me and love me. And I don't have to be perfect because I can't be perfect. I don't even want to be perfect. I want to be honest. I can't be perfect. Okay. But when you sit down with another human being, you actually go through this, it can change your life. It will change your life. Now, you're married and alone. And I understand that you're in the 12-step process, not because of something you might have done, but the healing that you get from doing this may be that silver lining in this cloud. It may be that you get to do some healing work that you might not have done otherwise and really become a stronger woman in the process, or a man. There are men who are married alone as well. And you might become stronger. And there might be stuff in the story that as you tell somebody and you get your value back and you get your worth back, you might not tolerate as many negative behaviors. You might actually start having your voice back and standing up for yourself. Because sometimes that one little thing, be it an abortion or rape or some kind of sexual behavior, something you did or that was done to you, kind of keeps you in a worthless place. But when you share it, your worth automatically goes up. And you'll be better at having boundaries. And so the gifts that the steps give you aren't always obvious, but they are for sure. Now, when you're admitting to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs, don't take a shortcut. Don't be general. Be very specific about what you did or what was done. And as you go through this step, you're going to find yourself breathing better, feeling better, and knowing that you've had a major accomplishment. Because most humans don't sit down and actually go through their own story. They just survive day to day and push through and go ahead, but they never sit down and go, oh wow, there's a lot of accumulation of scars or hurts or patterns of behavior I need to look at. And if I take the time to draw it all out, I can see patterns and I can see things. And now that I can see, I can change and grow. So you're in an exciting journey. If you got to step 5, you're almost halfway there. But step 5 is probably one of the most profound steps in all of the 12 steps. After you do it, you will see its wisdom. But do it thoroughly, do it well, and do it as quickly as possible after your step 4. Get with a sponsor, an accountability partner, a pastor, a religious leader, someone you really truly trust that can keep your secret, keep this to themselves, and will honor what you're trying to accomplish. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. We have so much for you that are married and alone. And if you're not part of our Married Alone Facebook group, please join that. Get in that. Get in a phone group. You don't want to do the steps by yourself. Please connect with some other people. If you're a man and you're doing Married and Alone, we have a men's Married and Alone Facebook group as well. So please subscribe. If you have a question, please ask it. And please keep watching the rest of these steps.